Good afternoon, everybody. It is July 16th, and we are at the Egg in Motion, west of Saskatoon. So right now, obviously, we're looking at a Horsch high clearance sprayer, and I have never ran one of these, and I kind of would like to learn a little bit of something about this. So that's why we got Mike here with us, and Mike's going to give us a little walk around, and hopefully show us a thing or two. So Mike.
Yes, Mike.
Yeah, I can't forget his name because it's also Mike. So, could you tell us the 101? I don't know anything about Horsch sprayers, but I want to learn.
Okay.
So, I see the Horsch 63 or 6.300 VL. I guess, what does that stand for?
So the 6 stands for the tank size. This will be a 6,000 liter tank, right? Which, you know, in North American terms, that's 1,700 gallons.
1,700 gallons.
Correct.
U.S. gallons.
Exactly. So
Okay.
300 will be the horsepower. So it's a 310 horsepower unit. We also offer an 8460, which is our 2,140 gallon. That's
So
60 horsepower.
Okay, so the 300 horsepower is running what engine?
FPT Iveco.
So it's an Iveco engine.
You bet.
Okay.
6.7 liter. So same as your case sprayers, right?
Yes. So that's the actual same engine as like the 4440, 4450?
A little bit smaller engine, right?
Okay.
This one's only 310.
Okay.
But, you know, that's why we offer the big one, which would be the biggest sprayer engine in the world at 460 horsepower.
And that one has 2,100.
2,140 gallons, but you can also spec out that big engine with the smaller 1,700 gallon.
Oh, you
tank.
can. So you can get the big power with
Yeah.
the 1,700
so you
gallon.
can get a 6460.
Okay.
You can get an 8460.
Okay.
A 6300 or an 8300.
Okay.
So any combination of tank size, boom size, engine size.
All optional.
All on the same frame, all on the same wheel motors.
Because the frame size on all those different models is the same.
Correct.
Tire size is the same at rocking out these LSW 900s.
Yeah, so you can put the big 900 tires on. These are actually the biggest wheel motors that have ever been put on a sprayer.
Yeah, I was going to say, these are pretty good sized wheel motors, actually.
They're big hubs, right? So if you compare this to your case hubs, right?
Yeah, that's bigger.
I can fit my hand across it.
Yeah.
It's about, you know, that big.
Yeah,
when
yeah,
I change the gear oil inside this, I have to use double the amount of gear oil when I do that maintenance.
Oh, okay, okay.
So more oil means better heat dissipation, right?
Yes.
And hopefully better durability.
But that's the same hub as on the smaller ones. Like, it's exact, like, so really it's just engine and tank.
So this machine, right, as it sits, is on a 1,700 gallon tank, but it's designed to carry around a 2,100.
Yeah. Okay. How about the boom? Like, what are we working with here for this boom?
The boom is steel boom, right, with an aluminum breakaway right on the outside.
Okay.
You'll see it better when we unfold it,
Yeah.
but it has
Yeah,
a
we're gonna
flex
take
in
it for a drive.
right?
Yeah, we're
It's
gonna.
the only sprayer in the market that has that outside flex, and
So it's kind of like a
there is
contouring
shown
boom.
A little bit better, right?
Yeah, we'll just
If we
walk.
along the back there, I can show you the center rack.
Sure.
It's
Let's
different.
take a look at this one here.
So this one's 150 feet.
150?
I gotta show you this mic on the end first. Be the only sprayer you see with this option. So what this is, a camera right on the tip. So in the monitor, right, we'll have our camera monitor right down the middle.
Yes.
I take a Sharpie and draw a line right down the center.
Yeah. Oh, so you can actually see the edge of your boom going down
Exactly. So anything
the fence row.
anything left of that
That's
line
awesome.
is a miss or a hit.
That's
So
awesome.
Anything right of the line is going to be a miss. So if you have a fence row with no fence line in
Yes.
between, just wheat and canola,
Okay.
you'll know exactly where that edge is because it's right over top of this outside nozzle.
That's actually pretty cool. This is the only sprayer that does that, eh?
I don't know, first one I think.
Yeah, I
Unless
think
you
so
tell
too.
me.
I haven't seen that before. All right. So yeah, so this is kind of like a contouring boom.
Yep.
I love it. The
So
sun
the
really
outside
isn't working with us
sensor
here,
on the
but
outside here
say what?
will control the outside flex, right?
The which sensor? That one.
That one there.
How many
and the one
sensors in
right
total?
outside. There's 8. So the
8
first one's
sensors.
right there beside the camera.
Yes.
Then you have this one right here.
Right here.
Then you have another one right here. This sensor here, I want to move a little bit down right to that.
To this point
location
right here, that would make sense.
Exactly. And then the last sensor's down here in the middle.
These are 4-wheel steer.
Correct.
Can you lock it so it's only 2-wheel steers? Or you can.
Yeah,
So you
go
can
above
choose.
10 mile an hour, it'll lock it out, right, automatically.
Yes.
But it has like a headland management system, just like a 4-wheel drive tractor, right? As soon as you get to the headland, you hit that number 1 button. It'll drop down to whatever speed you want to make your turn at. As soon as the nozzles get into the painted area, the nozzles all turn off. The boom will lift up to whatever height you want to make your turn
okay.
at. 4-wheel steer turns on. You come out of the headland, hit the number 2 button. It all reverses. It also engages your auto steer.
That's pretty cool. I do like the idea of 4-wheel steer for chickpeas when we're in there.
It's a lot less tramping.
A lot less tramping.
You bet.
So what do we got here?
So the idea behind this,
I guess
mud.
it's mud. I guess.
Right? So if it builds up here, you know, you're gonna have mud building up on your nozzles. And you've like seen it before.
Yeah.
Sprayers,
Yeah, I
right?
push the mud off all the time.
But what we found the last 4 years in Alberta, where it hasn't rained, is dust. So the dust will hit this vinyl and flow over top of the boom instead of flowing right through it.
Okay. So then, what's this little hole here? Is that for anything, or is that just? That's just
to hold it on
okay,
there. So.
Fair enough.
But if you look underneath, this is why this sprayer is kind of unique. You see our whole center rack is tilted side to side, right?
Yes.
No other
it's like
sprayer's
this
gonna do that
right now.
So what that means, when these tires are going through bumps, right? On your other sprayers, you're gonna see the shock go into your booms, right?
Yeah.
The boom's gonna move when you go through those bumps.
Yeah.
On this machine, there's a gyroscopic sensor on this back rack that controls these two hydraulic cylinders in the middle, right? So when you're going through bumps, the gyroscope, it works like a gimbal on a drone. So
I see.
as the suspension is moving around back here, right? These hydraulic cylinders are controlling this center rack so your boom doesn't hit the ground when you're at a super low boom height.
That's pretty cool.
So
And then-
I'll move it a bit here if you want to.
Yeah. I like that, you guys. Interesting. You guys probably can't. They probably can't really see that very good with the camera, but
So it all hangs up there in the middle like a clothes hanger in a closet, right?
yeah.
So it can move completely independent from the suspension.
And just so we can point, this is the 2100.
2140 is the tank size on this.
2140. I keep forgetting the 40.
It's important. The 40 gives you screw up room, right?
That's true. That's the slush fund.
Yeah.
But that's not plastic. That's stainless steel.
Stainless steel.
But it's painted
gray,
stainless.
so it looks cool.
Right. But the two poly tanks on each side there for the rinse tank.
So the sides we have underneath here, that's 100 gallons of rinse water on this side.
Right here.
100 gallons of rinse water on the
other
side.
side.
So how long does it take you to do a clean out?
For me?
Yeah.
Well, I do it twice because I'm slightly, like to make sure I don't have any hang-ups.
Yeah.
But, it probably takes me a good 20, 25 minutes, something like that to do it.
Okay. So this machine, 10 minutes, 200 gallons of rinse water.
Okay.
And you don't have to be hooked up to your water trailer.
Okay.
I can do that, clean out the majority of it while I'm transporting down the road.
Okay.
So with recirculating
So you can be
booms-
moving and doing it.
Correct.
Interesting.
So you can dump your tank on the gravel while you're driving if you really want. I'm sure the German friends will hate that. I say that, right? But
I mean, no. I
illegal
mean,
in Germany.
I mean, no.
Yeah.
No. We don't do that. Don't do that. Don't.
Anyways, the machine can be almost cleaned out
Yeah.
without touching any chemicals. So I don't need my
Okay.
rubber boots. I don't
Okay.
need my rubber gloves.
Okay.
The filters self-flush themselves. So if you look at this filter down here, it has a black line coming off the bottom of it.
This one right here.
Yeah, so that's my main pressure filter after the pump. What this leads to, right, is this electronic valve right here.
Okay.
This valve is controlled by whether my nozzles are on or off. If my nozzles are off, this valve opens.
Okay.
Anything that's in this filter is back flushed up into the top of my tank into another dome filter. So it takes out
Interesting.
whatever is caught in here and back flushes
So you're
it.
flushing this whole filter out.
Exactly. So this filter flushes, and there's another one on the back rack that also flushes.
So would you use this little valve down here for
If
anything?
you want to
then?
dump on the ground, you can do the same thing when it's under pressure. But usually
okay.
what I use this valve for is if I'm going to open this filter, I dump
Just
it first.
so
I don't
it's
get wet.
not so messy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
the other unique thing on the clean out is going to be the continuous rinse. So this is the only sprayer on the market right now that has
It has
factory
continuous rinse.
installed continuous rinse.
So what do you mean by continuous rinse?
So on your sprayer right now, your main product pump is what activates your rinse nozzle.
Yeah, my sparge, you mean?
Your
No.
rinse nozzle.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So if you're rinsing your tank out, right, and say you're doing like a 5-minute rinse or a 3-minute rinse, whatever is in your tank is what's going back
Sure,
up.
it's
into-
recirculating it up there.
So if it's dirty water that just
Yeah.
runs the sides of your tank,
Sure,
it's
yeah.
dirty water coming back up to the top.
Makes sense.
So what we do is we have another pump installed on the back here.
You guys following all this? There's going to be a pop quiz at the end of it.
Yeah, a lot of information.
A lot of information.
This is a diaphragm pump back here. So the only sprayer in the market with 2 pumps. This one just does
Interesting.
clean,
So this is just a freshwater pump.
just fresh water.
So this is actually just your 2 freshwater tanks.
Correct. So it'll suck out of my freshwater tanks
One at a time or equally?
equally.
Okay.
Pulls out of both, unless you put a selector valve in after.
Okay.
But that's another story. The pump, though, when you're doing a clean out, I'll have this pump pumping in at high pressure into the main tank through the rinse nozzles.
Yeah.
At the same time, the centrifugal pump will pump out into the
So
booms.
you're
and spray dirty water out.
we're spraying our dirty water on the ground or somewhere.
Yep.
And then we're rinsing with fresh water on top of that.
Correct.
Oh yeah, I like that idea.
Correct.
Yeah.
So also with the clean out system, there's an air blowout. So we steal air from the suspension reservoir, right?
Because we have air suspension.
Correct, air suspension. So then you can purge the whole system of all the hot chemical first before you add any clean water in. So say you get rained out, right?
Yeah.
You have a tank of Liberty on or something like that, right?
It's happened.
It's happened, right? You don't want to leave Liberty in your booms.
No.
It's going to suck whatever chemical is last in there out of their rubber hose. So you hit a button in the cab, the main tank sump is going to close. It's going to suck fresh water with my main product pump out of the rinse tanks, push all that clean water backwards.
Oh.
All the chemical that was in your booms gets returned to the main tank then, right?
Yeah.
And you're left with clean water in the booms. It turns the nozzles on for 1 second.
And it flushes it out.
Exactly.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
That's pretty fancy. Okay. So, I guess talking about suspension, I guess here we got one airbag, right?
Big airbag down here.
Shocks.
Shocks and a damper in the front.
And a damper on the front.
Yep. Also have cab suspension. So this is a 2 airbag cab suspension system. On the new cab machine for 2025 season, it goes to a 4 airbag system on the cab.
This goes to so the 2025 is coming out with a new cab.
Correct.
Nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
so the new Kloss cab from the new Kloss combines that are already built, right?
It's going on.
Switches over. The factory's already switched over.
It's going on this sprayer.
Correct.
Okay. Interesting. So then you can obviously preset your track spacing to whatever you want.
So you type in the monitor, however many inches wide.
Yeah, however many inches you want.
You can suck it in or out if the tank is loaded or empty.
Okay.
Right. Takes about 30 seconds.
That's pretty fast.
And nice thing about that, I know the new 4450K switched, but there's no stops underneath, right? There's no bolts. All it is, there's a sensor inside the hydraulic cylinder.
Just a sensor and it stops. What about I'm seeing some grease nipples here, I believe.
Yep.
Is there a lot of grease nipples, and is auto greasers an option on these things?
Yeah, auto greaser's an option. A few guys order it. Usually if they have Kloss combines, they like the
they
auto
like
greaser option.
I'm always torn because I'm always worried that the auto greaser isn't working for some reason. Yeah. And I'm not saying that it doesn't. I'm just saying something that I think about all the time.
I think auto greaser is nice, but it's a nice feeling when I'm out here in greasiness.
Yeah. So how many grease nipples? Is this thing loaded? Because I see there's one here. And so obviously all the main pivot points.
All the pivot points, anything that moves here on the center rack, you're gonna have 25 grease points from basically the suspension backwards onto the boot.
So there's gonna be a
system.
There's gonna be a few grease nipples. So get a battery operated grease gun.
You bet.
whatever brand you guys like.
Yeah. So these are all 50-hour intervals. There's only one 10-hour interval on
the
machine. That'll be on the suspension sled right there.
So we got 900 LSWs as options, and then we can go to skinnies. Obviously, got to be able to get to skinnies. So what's our skinny option size?
380 105R54. So it'll be the biggest factory supplied skinny tire in the industry in terms of height.
Okay.
So what that means
54 inches.
54 inches. So we're still a 380 width for chopping down your chickpeas, right?
Yeah.
But you're a taller tire on the ground to give you more traction and also less compaction.
And do you find that the 380s actually hold up the 2,100 gallons all right?
Oh yeah.
I guess we have that Trident, and it identifies as a fairly large sprayer as well on 380s.
Yeah. Do you know how much it weighs?
The Trident? Not off the top of my head. Okay. It's pretty heavy sprayer though, I believe.
They're heavy.
What's this one? Speaking of weight, what does this one weigh?
So this one, the way it sits with the big tires, right? So a 2,100 gallon tank, the big engine, so the 460 engine. Yeah. You'll be at 34,500 pounds.
Oh, that's it.
I weighed it at the feedlot, right? Which, that's
what's that? The big tires you said?
That's what the big tires. Oh, yeah. So, you look at our book, it'll say like 30,000 pounds or something.
Yeah.
Right? But that's actually what I weigh them at.
That's down closer to Patriot level.
Correct. You compare this to a new 4450K, so it'll be roughly the same weight.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Bigger tanks, bigger engines, bigger wheel motors, and planetaries.
Interesting.
How we're keeping the weight.
Yeah, what are we sacrificing here?
The frame. One single beam right down the middle. If you look at your gears, your cases, they're all a box frame design.
100%. Right? 100%.
So, cuts a lot of weight off the machine, but also at the same time, it's easier to work on. All my hydraulic lines
are running on one side.
It's all easy to work on. So you look at our engine compartments, compared to doing maintenance on your case, I've done a lot of off-season maintenances on the cases, right?
Yeah.
Hydraulic filter, fuel filter, everything is easy to grab right at head level. You don't have to hang out on that catwalk. Up
Right.
there.
So I guess I forgot. Like, so on Patriot, the engine's at the back,
Yep.
and your engine is right behind it. So is that loud? Being, I guess we'll find out. But how loud is that having the engine right
It's
at the
quieter.
back, right
There's
behind
no
you?
hydraulic whine.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So
Okay.
you'll see that in a second. But
Okay. So
I've
what
measured
about
the
weight
decibels.
distribution? Because
So
on
that's an interesting story.
Okay.
The weight distribution, any mid-mount cab, Horsch made a mid-mount cab where it was engine in the front,
yeah,
then cab, then tank, and then boom.
yeah,
They don't make those anymore. The weight distribution wasn't perfect. You could never get it a 50-50 weight distribution. So again, I weighed these to feedlot, and it's pretty much 51-49.
Okay, that's
It's pretty much
close.
bang on.
Pretty dang
52,
close.
48, it's right there. But in the book, it'll say 50-50.
okay, okay. And then obviously I'm seeing our def here and our fuel there. Is this the only side? This is the fuel tank?
This is the fuel tank right here.
Okay, okay. And then trying to think if there's anything else. For towing when I get it stuck?
Yep.
Right here?
Yep. So you have front and back, but the back axles can move independent from the front axles if you want.
Okay.
So it has four-wheel steer, but it also has crab steer. So the last thing I'll do before I call the four-wheel drive from stuck is
Yep.
I'll try to crab steer sideways out of the ruts.
Okay.
First. But in this case, for how open it is underneath here, there's nothing hanging down that drags canola.
Right.
I can be pulling sideways
Yeah,
from
yeah.
either side on this, right?
Yeah.
I can hook up my strap and try to get it out sideways.
Drag it
instead
off on a corner.
Instead of straight out. But honestly, Mike, I don't get these things stuck a lot.
So obviously it's hydrostatic.
Yeah.
So do you have like on the Patriot we can try and hydraulically lock up a few wheels to get ourselves out of a bad situation?
Yeah.
Seem kinda
The
similar,
old heel smash.
the old
right?
heel smash,
The
and
calf-
you're
the
just
calf
pounding on it.
The calf cramp in the old
The
44
calf
20s
cramp.
and 30s.
Yes. So how's this thing? Something like that? Or
So
not?
each one of these wheel motors has a wheel speed sensor in
Okay.
it, right? Which the Patriot didn't have because it just had a radar sensor.
Right.
So what that means is as soon as one of these tires starts to slip, right, it's going to reroute the flow of the oil to the other tires that aren't
It's slipping less.
So on
I
your
see.
case, when you push down on that heel,
Yeah.
you have two pumps that control the drive system on that sprayer. It does this wheel motor and this wheel motor.
Okay.
As soon as you push down with your heel, it goes, that pump controls those two wheel motors.
Okay.
One pump controls the other. So it just kind of
Okay.
reroutes.
Okay.
On this one, it's going to actually put it to the wheel motors that aren't slipping.
Okay.
But, you know, when you're climbing hills and you start to slip, that's why we have a bigger wheel motor in the back
Right.
versus in the front.
Wait, do you have a bigger wheel motor in the back
Yes.
on this sprayer?
So this is
I don't even think I noticed that.
This is a 115cc wheel motor in the front,
Okay.
which was the biggest that's ever been installed on a sprayer.
Okay.
170cc in the back, which is by far the biggest. So when you're going up a hill, it doesn't matter how good your
Yeah,
weight
yeah, yeah,
balance is. Your weight always goes to the back tire.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. It does. Okay.
So it climbs hills like crazy with that 468.
Well, I think it's time to. Hey, what about? Did we talk about the boom widths?
Yeah. So the widths were 120 feet.
This one isn't. This one isn't 120, but
I got a lot of 120s out in Western Canada
Oh, do you?
right now. This is a 133 that we're going to demo.
Okay.
This one sitting right here is 150 feet.
150. So 150 is the largest.
For now, yes.
For now. Okay.
Yes.
What's the most common? 120s probably.
120 is probably never going to go away because
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
perfect for row crop.
Yeah, yeah,
60
makes
foot,
sense.
40 foot planters, right?
Yeah, that does make sense.
It's going to be there forever, I think.
Okay. Well, is that our GPS bubble up there?
I can show you all that stuff.
Okay, let's go. Let's run over to the other sprayer here.